Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on Monday, the 3rd of July. As always, we bring you the news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Ashwin Bedi. In the news tonight, Mines Minister Tom Oneuptwo says the Diamond Board plays an important role in advising the government on policy matters related to the diamond mining industry. Oneuptwo made the comments at a press briefing to announce the new members of the Diamond Board of Namibia.
The Diamond Act, as we know it, is the act that establishes the Diamond Board, where the act says there shall be a Diamond Act, and the main function, or probably the only function of the board, is to advise the minister responsible for mines and energy on matters relating to the diamond industry. And therefore there is a distinction between this board and the normal board that we know of, for example, the board of the SOEs. This is not a board like where they take decisions on anything, but they advise the minister on issues that relates to the diamond industry. And this is an important function because as we all know, the diamond industry play a very, very crucial, important role in our economy. For example, in terms of our total export that come from the diamond, for the mining industry as a whole, more than 50% of that export value come from the diamond industry. In 2022, the total revenue that went to the treasury from the mining sector as a total, 55% of that came from the diamond sector only. So that is really an indication that the diamond sector is a very, very important sector of our economy, and therefore we need to deal with it with due care, and the Diamond Board have got a role to play in how we then manage this industry that is so important.
Moving on to our next story, Dennis Zaire, the Senior Program Manager at Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, speaks on the importance of mathematics and statistics to elevate the youth in Namibia. Zaire was speaking at the official opening of the first International Conference on Mathematical and Statistical Sciences. The conference is directed under the theme of moving towards multidisciplinary problem-solving research advancements this morning at the Namibia University of Science and Technology in Windhoek.
Each STEM element contributes significantly to a well-rounded education. Learners get a thorough awareness of the world around them via science. I therefore would like to indicate that the academics here today who are going to present their papers shall put in mind the aspect of practical application of their knowledge and written papers. It is one thing to have a well-written theory and perspective on the matter, and it is another to apply the knowledge practically to the realities we face. I too, like Elia Zulu, the Director of African Institute Development Policy, believe that academics should play a proactive role in understanding the evidence needs of decision makers, generating and translating the required evidence and promoting its use in decision-making processes. End of quote. The only imperative aspect that will make this conference unique and attractive to the public and people from different professions is when the institution finds a way to simplify the scientific information so they will be understood by the average person. When a policymaker understands that it is through updated statistic information where effective development policies will be achieved, then he or she will pay attention. In closing, we must adapt to the changing nature of the environment in which we live. By providing students with a new mentality and abilities that are appreciated in all professions, STEM education transforms society. Young individuals can use them to be adaptable, search for patterns, make connections, and access information. STEM education also produces social consciousness. It informs the general population about world concerns. Because of this, STEM possibilities help us transform to transition to a knowledge-based economy and improve our sustainability literacy. I look forward to a successful conference. Thank you.
The Affirmative Repositioning Movement has submitted an application to the Electoral Commission of Namibia to be officially registered as a political party, Namibian Sun has learned. This was confirmed yesterday by ECN's acting Chief Electoral Officer, Advocate Heidi Jacobs. We received such an application last week and we are looking at it, Jacobs confirmed. The plan to transform itself into a political movement comes almost a decade after the pressure group was formed, a period which saw AR leaders stating on several occasions that there are no plans to register as a political movement. If given the nod by the electoral body, AR will be able to contest in next year's general elections as well as field the candidates for the presidential elections. One of the AR founders, Joba Mopanda, has already made his plans to run for presidency next year public by making several public pronouncements and anointing himself as the incoming president. An audit by the Office of the Auditor General has found that the Ministry of Labour does not have mechanisms in place to verify whether it is still paying salaries to staff members who have since died. The findings are detailed in the Minister's audit report for the 2022 financial year. The audit found deceased workmen's compensation employees still active on the payroll module of the ministry, and they were paid a monthly benefit even after the date of death, the report noted. Auditor General Junius Kanjeke noted that the ministry could not determine who among the staff members was paying remuneration and is still alive or had died. The account officer indicated that even though the beneficiaries are on the ministerial payroll, the ministry does not have access to information on whether they are still alive or not. Now, the ministry, the Auditor General found, was reliant on the records of the Social Security Commission of Namibia to verify which of its employees had died and which ones were still alive. Nika and Zandile, the two tame female cheetahs from a farm near Keetmanshoop, are expected to be released into a national park. However, experts say they will not survive the conditions. You can expect more of these stories in tomorrow's Republicane.
Die Ministerie van die Omgewing, Bosbou en Toerisme sal na verwagting 2 mak jagluiperdwyfies van 'n plaas naby Keetmanshoop wegneem en hulle in 'n nasionale park plaas. Kenners in die gebied sê dit sal 'n doodsvonnis vir hierdie 2 jagluiperds wees. Ingrid Nolte het 5 jaar gelede 2 jagluiperdwelpies, Nika en Zandile, in haar sorg geneem en hulle het intussen mak geword. Die ministerie het egter Nolte se aansoek om die 2 jagluiperds op haar en haar man se plaas aan te hou afgekeur, omdat sy glo nie kon bewys dat sy hulle wettiglik bekom het nie. Nolte het daarna die Hoërhof in Windhoek genader om die ministerie se besluit te hersien, maar regter Colin Parker het verlede week in die ministerie se guns beslis. Rudy van Vieren van Ankuse het vandag aan Republicane gesê dat hierdie 2 jagluiperds na hulle grafte gestuur word indien hulle in 'n nasionale park vrygelaat word. Donna Hansen van die Africat Stichting sê as dit haar jagluiperds was, het sy hulle self geskiet. 'n Onmiddellike dood eerder as die uitgerekte lyding wat moontlik vir hulle voorlê.
In our Story of the Day segment, First Rand Namibia Group CEO during the launch of a book title said that the book launch will help small and medium enterprises. Stay with us.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toyvon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, Oneuptwo.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
First Rand Namibia Group CEO Conrad Dempsey, during the launch of a book titled Actualizing the African Economic Vision, a practical handbook on the AfCFTA, said that the book will help small and medium enterprises to leverage everything encompassed in the trade agreement.
Conrad MC, CEO of First Rank Namibia. We're here at the book launch of this wonderful little book, Actualizing the African Economic Vision. And it's a real practical guide for any business person, big or small, on how to leverage what's intended in the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. So we really encourage everybody to, grab a copy. If you're a small business person or a bigger business person, you always wanted, how do you access other markets into Africa? I think this is the answer. Have a read. We really gained a lot of value from it in understanding what the terms of the agreements are.
In economic news, after the break, we'll be talking about ludicrous riches which used to be buried deep underground. Stay with Sunset News.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Luderitz's riches used to be buried deep underground, but a pioneering kelp farming project off its craggy coast promises to bring new, greener opportunities to the former diamond mining town in southern Namibia. Kelp Blue, the pilot run by a Dutch startup, grows giant kelp to lock away planet-heating carbon dioxide, harvesting some of it to make products from cosmetics to biodegradable food packaging and biostimulants used to boost crop yields and drought resilience. By regularly harvesting the top of the kelp's canopy, the company hopes eventually to produce 150 tons of giant kelp per hectare each year to supply its processing department. Make sure you read the full report in tomorrow's Market Watch. Stay with us as we head into international news after the break, starting with a center which opens to build cases against Russian leaders for Ukraine aggression.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
You are still with Sunset News. Let's get into the international news. Law enforcement officials from Ukraine, the European Union and the United States earlier today opened an international center to build cases against the Russian leadership for the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian authorities are reviewing more than 93,000 reports of war crimes and have filed charges against 207 suspects in domestic courts. High-level perpetrators could be tried at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, which has already sought the arrest of Russian President Vladimir Putin. But due to a gap in international law, there is no court that can currently prosecute the crime of aggression for the February 24, 2022 invasion itself. The new International Center for the Prosecution of the Crime of Aggression, also in The Hague, will work alongside the ICC, the world's permanent war crimes court, and bridge that legal gap. The new center will collect evidence for possible cases against Russian military and political leaders responsible for the war, Ukraine's top prosecutor Andriy Kostin said.
The key purpose of having the International Center for the Prosecution of the Crime of Aggression is to secure crucial evidence, start building up the case already now. We don't want to wait until the end of the conflict. We decided that we will support our partners which started their own national investigations, and we will centralize already available evidence, analyze that evidence, and also identify possible evidentiary gaps through our experts working here at Eurojust.
Today we gather here on occasion of a truly historic moment. I would say an epoch-defining moment when the civilized world not only voices but also shows by concrete actions that accountability is what matters the most. The work of the Centre will contribute to the efficient and comprehensive investigation and prosecution of the crime of aggression, which is an original sin, commission of which opened the floodgate for 100,000 of other international crimes.
The Justice Department's newly appointed U.S. Special Prosecutor for the Crime of Aggression, Jessica Kim, will represent the United States at the Center, and she will have unfettered access to the substantial body of expertise and resources that the Department has amassed in response to Russia's unlawful war of aggression against the people of Ukraine.
The investigators and prosecutors of Ukraine and men and women of my office are working in a battle zone in a way that presents unique challenges. But unless we collect and preserve the evidence, the hope of accountability that is as wide as possible for as many core crimes under the Rome Statute as possible will become theoretical and illusionary. And of course, whether it's human rights or the Rome Statute, what we're trying to do collectively is make sure these concepts are rendered practical and effective. They're taken off the page of academic journals and are there, plant the flag of justice on the soil of Ukraine and actually spread it more widely as well.
Very interesting sentiments indeed. Stay with Sunset News as we head into the weather after the break.
Ranging from current affairs, community stories, local index remains unchanged while overall index...
Thank you for joining the show that highlights the news-making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond.
Always major victorious.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
capital city Windhoek, but let's have a look at the other weather predictions. Starting with the northern region, the weather is clear throughout the day with the maximum temperatures ranging from 25.3 degrees Celsius to 28.7 degrees Celsius. In the central region, the weather is clear also throughout the day, ranging from 22 degrees Celsius to 25.5 degrees Celsius. Hentisbe and Soccermund, both expecting minimums of 16 degrees. Rehoboth much colder with an 8-degree minimum expected, and Oranjemund will have a 17 degrees Celsius maximum. You are still with Sunset News. There was plenty of sporting action over the weekend, and when we come back, Brian Monango will take us through the latest of those stories.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
You are still with Sunset News. Let's get into the sport updates.
Well, good evening, viewers. On today's Sunset News, brought to you by Sports Wrap, we take a look at African Regional Field Archery Championships that took place in Windhoek over the weekend at the archery range 20 kilometers east of Windhoek and on the Heya Lodge grounds. That is, two-time world champion Yanni Muezen of Namibia showed his class during the first 2 days of the Continental Championship as he scooped up first place there. Well, in second place, we saw the likes of Oneuptwo HJ, who came away with 179 points, and Luzanne Grant in the adult female freestyle unlimited with 1,073 points. Gerard Huiskamp in the AMFU took 165 points, that is. Well, the 2023 African States Tournament, the Continental Championship of Lawn Bowls, was hosted in Windhoek at the Trans-Namib and Eros Bowling Clubs, where Namibia's men and women each took on Botswana, Kenya, South Africa, Zambia and Zimbabwe in the tournament. Highlight of the tournament was when Mariki van den Berg, Diana Viljoen, Amanda Steenkamp and Elzaan de Vries won a gold medal for Namibia in the women's fours division against Zimbabwe, who took silver, and South Africa, who took bronze. Well, that's all we have from you from the Sports Wrap team. That is, it is goodbye.
Stay with Sunset News. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with the highlights from this evening's broadcast.
Ranging from current affairs, community stories,
Thank you for joining the show that highlights the news making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond.
Always major victorious.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Let's get into the highlights from this evening's broadcast. Mines Minister Thoma Luendo says the Diamond Board plays an important role in advising the government on policy matters related to the diamond mining industry. Nika and Zandile, the two tame female cheetahs from a farm near Keetmanshoop, are expected to be released into a national park. However, some experts say they would not survive the conditions. And the 2023 African States Tournament, the Continental Championship of Lawn Bowls, was hosted in Windhoek at the Trans-Namib and Eros Bowling Clubs, where Namibia's men and women each took on Botswana, Kenya, South Africa, Zambia and Zimbabwe at the tournament. And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook on all the NMH platforms, as well as on our website, oneuptwo.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. This has been Sunset News. My name is Ashwin Berry. Don't end your day without us.